Hello and welcome to chapter 3 of the A to Z of Alcohol and Sobriety. Everything you need to know, written and read by me, Corinna Alderton. And today we're on the C's and we're going to look at things such as, or including, chakras, codependency, control and cross-addiction. But I'm going to start with caffeine. It increases dopamine in our brain and gets us buzzing. When we stop alcohol, we stop the buzz that we so desperately want. Many of us become teapots and coffee addicts. Personally, I only have one caffeine a day. The rest is decaf and herbal teas. Caffeine is the only substance in my life that I can moderate. It causes me anxiety, palpitations and several trips to the loo, as it puts pressure on our heart and kidneys, just like alcohol. This is the reason catheterised people should avoid caffeine and booze. If you do have decaf, make sure it's water filtered and not stripped with chemicals. And if you stop suddenly, be prepared to withdraw. Headaches, sweats, shakes, bad mood. Sound familiar? I once heard a psychiatrist say that coffee is more foreign to us than heroin or opiates, as it is completely alien to anything naturally occurring in us. Our natural opiates are our endorphins. Calm is a sense of peace and well-being. To help with this, I recommend checking out the Calm app. You do have to pay a small amount, but it's far less than we would spend on booze. It helps with meditation, relaxation, anxiety, breathing, and has bedtime stories for adults to aid sleep. Cancer is our body cells growing and reproducing in an uncontrollable manner, leading to tumours and illness. The classified cancer risk of alcohol is the same as tobacco and asbestos, and every time we drink alcohol, we increase our risks of cancer. Alcohol causes direct scarring and cancer to the mouth, the throat, the esophagus, which is our tube that connects our mouth to our stomach, and the liver, and is attributed to 20 to 30% of cases worldwide. Women increase their risk of breast cancer by 30 to 40% with just 2 drinks a day, due to the effects of alcohol on estrogen. Alcohol has also been linked to cancer of the bowel, pancreas, prostate and skin, and a group of Canadian doctors and researchers are campaigning for alcohol to carry cancer warnings. Capacity is defined by being able to understand what is being said, remember the information, make an informed choice even if it is an unwise one, and communicate that choice or decision. When we drink, we lose a whole lot more than our inhibitions. We lose our right to make choices and decisions about our life and in that moment. That's how we ended up in jail. For some of us, it will be a physical one, but for many of us, the chains of addiction will eventually be on. Capillaries are our smallest blood vessels, but are vital for the exchange of gases, nutrients, and waste in our body. As a general rule, our arteries take nutrients and oxygen to our capillaries, and our veins remove carbon dioxide and waste products from them. But alcohol is absorbed from our gut straight into our capillaries and then onto our liver by our veins. Alcohol therefore puts extra pressure on our circulation, raises our blood pressure, and can cause our capillaries to burst. Hence the red face and nose, the spider veins, and the rosacea that so many of us get. Care plan. Whilst podcasting one day, I realised how helpful it would be to write a care plan for ourselves when we quit alcohol. It is a big life change, and this would really help us to look at the difficulties, what we want to achieve, and how. Whilst this is something we need to do for ourselves, it's really important to remember that we do not have to do this all alone, and to include everyone and everything we can think of to help us. Here's an example to get you started, and then have a go yourself. What I want to do: stop drinking alcohol. How? Read about what to expect and ways to do it. Decide if I want to have face-to-face or online support. Talk to my doctor. Talk to others who have quit for ideas on what to do and what to expect. Find a sober community to support me and join. Tell my family and or friends. Who's going to be involved in this? Me, my doctor, sober community, family and friends. When? 1 week from today, I will stop drinking. What I want to do: manage my cravings. How? Make sure there is no alcohol easily available. Reach out and talk to people for support. Distract myself, go for a bath, walk, run, watch a movie, play a game. Play it forwards. Use ACT, become aware, clarify what is happening and turn it around. Who? Me, my sober community, friends and family. When? 1 day at a time. Cars. I love King 13's analogy of cars in our Sobriety podcast, the power in and of sobriety. Humans are like cars. The motor is the brain, the chassis is the frame, the body is the body type, as we are all different shapes and sizes, and we are the driver. Sometimes we cannot get going and have malfunctions, and sometimes we're in overdrive and on turbo speed, and then we can crash and burn. Then we become a write-off in our minds. Repairs need to be done, but everything can be rebuilt, including us. We need to drive at a cruising speed to achieve the balance in our life and get ultimate pleasure. It's okay sometimes to drive fast and get those bursts of dopamine, and it's also okay to go slow. But cruising is the safest speed because you don't crash and burn. This has given me a whole new outlook on the concept of pacing, and I love it. Catherine Gray turned her life around at the age of 33 by stopping drinking and changing her mindset, and is the author of one of my favourite quick lit books, The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. She's also written The Unexpected Joy of Being Single, The Unexpected Joy of the Ordinary, Sunshine Warm Sober. CBT, Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, works on the understanding that every area in our life impacts on another. If something changes in one area, then it will impact on the others. Stopping drinking impacts hugely on this, as does drinking. The difference is, sober we always have the capacity. I love Dr. Chris Williams' 5-area approach to this. It's situation, thoughts, feelings, behaviour and physical. So here's an example. Situation. You're at a party and everyone is drinking. Our thoughts. I'm missing out. I don't fit in. A drink will help. I'm sure I can just have one. Feelings. We're feeling anxious and uncomfortable. Physically, our palms are starting to sweat. Our heart is racing. We've got a dry mouth and we're getting quite agitated. The behaviour. We have a drink. The physical response is relief and numb. And our thoughts, that feels better. The behaviour is we drink more. And the physical effects are we feel sick and dizzy and pass out. The next day, the situation is that we might wake up on the bathroom floor. Our thoughts are, what did I do that for? What's wrong with me? What did I do last night? Never again. Our feelings are embarrassment, shame, worry. Physically, we've got a headache, we feel sick, we're tired, we're hungover. And our behaviour is that old checking of the phone to see what we've done, ringing in sick or going to work but not really performing. Now maybe go through those 5 areas and say how it would be if you'd resisted that one drink. Celebrate. There are things to celebrate every day, but we are mostly used to noticing the not so good stuff. Look for the good today and celebrate. One of the things I really enjoy doing is celebrating my milestones with my sober community. I celebrated each month for my first year with a new charm for my bracelet, the final one being a heart with all the jigsaw pieces fitting together. I no longer feel like the missing piece. I don't wear it. It hangs on the handle of my drawer, a permanent reminder of my achievement and wonderful gift to myself. Sober life. Chakras. The idea of these originate from India even, and mean wheel of light. Our chakras are thought to be spinning balls of energy in our body that regulate and help our body to function. In the Western world of science, we know that our bodies work on electricity produced by chemical reactions, so it's not too hard to imagine these 7 chakras starting at the point between our private parts, which is our root chakra, and working up to our crown. Our chakras are flowing vibrations, and each are associated with a different colour, musical note, and function. Our crown chakra is white or violet, and it goes musical note B, and it's located at the top of our head. It's our spiritual centre, helping with our spiritual connection. Our third eye chakra is indigo, note A, and located between our eyebrows. It is our mind centre, helping our imagination and intuition, or our gut instinct. Our throat chakra is blue, note G, and unsurprisingly, located in the throat. It is our communication centre, helping us to speak our truth and express ourselves. Our heart chakra is green, note F, and located in the centre of our chest, the place that we normally touch when we feel some emotion. It is our centre for giving, receiving, love. Our solar plexus is yellow, note E, and located above our belly button in the space between our rib cage. Oh, try and stand up here. Here is our centre for giving. No, it's not. That's another one. It is our power centre, helping with our confidence and our self-esteem. And our sacral chakra is orange, note D, and located just below our belly button. It is our pleasure centre, helping with our emotions, creative and sexual energy. And our root chakra is red, note C, and located at the base of our spine, or in the bit between our anus and our private parts. It connects us to our body and the world around us, helping us to feel grounded, secure and stable. When our chakras are blocked, it can cause issues with the harmony of our body and mind, and vice versa. I'm very aware that I feel and hold on to everything in my solar plexus, and I'm currently working on freeing that. Ways to restore and balance our chakras are through meditation, mindfulness, Reiki, Tai Chi, aromatherapy, acupuncture, and mindful breathing. Charlie Mackesy, author and illustrator of one of my favourite books, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. He's a cartoonist, book illustrator, writer and artist. His work can be seen in many public places in the UK, including Highgate Cemetery, prisons and hospitals. I feel a little investigative tour coming on. So here are a couple of quotes, or one quote from his book. Just take this step. The horizon will look after itself. Chi, not as in the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet, first learning of the day for me, but as in the Chinese life force Chi, spelt Qi. Second learning of the day, within the space of minutes. I need to bulk up the Q's, so I'll write more about it over there. Children. I always wanted children, and when I turned 30, I was pining for them. I'd see a baby in a buggy, and I'd actually cry. I got pregnant and stopped drinking as soon as I knew, and I didn't really return to my drinking habits until my beautiful baby boy was 2. I'd have the occasional binge with friends, but I wasn't a regular drinker then. I had a fear though, a fear that my boy was going to die when he was 2. It was so firmly fixed that I even had a date in my mind and had to take the day off of work to protect him. Now that's extreme, ordered, and very unhelpful thinking. He lived, but I then didn't think that he'd make it into teenage years or adulthood. I could not cope with the fear of loss or the anxiety this caused, and so my drinking began. Again, in full force. The irony? The fear of losing him made me miss out on so much, as I was never fully present. He's now grown up and a daddy, and fortunately we have a great relationship. I cannot go back. All I can hope is that by sharing this, others will stop drinking whilst their kids are young. They really do grow up fast. Don't have the regrets that I do. Chocolate. Good news. Dark chocolate is good for us. It boosts the feel-good chemicals in our brain, serotonin and dopamine. Just make sure it's over 85% cocoa and don't eat the whole bar in one go. Choice. We always have a choice. Even if we are kidnapped and chained, we have a choice on how we react and respond. Actually, that's how alcohol made me feel in the end. Kidnapped and chained. We may feel we don't have a choice, but we are never as helpless as we feel when it comes to addiction. We do have choices to continue as things are, continue with change, or leave the situation. Try writing out a for and against list for each option. The answer will become glaringly obvious. Here's an example to get you started, and then you can have a go yourself. So to continue drinking, to leave the situation as it is. 4, I can numb, I can forget, I can block pain. Against, cost, anxiety, depression, pain, deceit, guilt, dying inside, dying. Continue drinking with change. 4, I'll give my body a rest by reducing. Against, anxiety around when I can have my next drink, moody, cravings, physical and emotional withdrawal in between drinking times. I will need more and more and be back to full-time drinking again. Stop drinking. 4, save money, health, better mood, work through trauma, be present for others, have good relationships, less physical and emotional pain, no drinking remorse, regret or guilt, and feel happy. Against, I will feel my emotions, no comfort blanket, it'll be hard work, others won't like it. So there are your headings, is to continue drinking with change, or stop drinking. And you can use that for anything in your life, staying in the situation, staying in it with change, or leaving. Circadian rhythms comes from the Latin circa diem, around the day. And this is what our wonderful body does, 24 hours a day. It keeps everything moving and circulating in rhythm, ticking nicely away, keeping us in time with the night and day. We may not be a great coordinator, but our body is, if we just leave it to get on with its job. These rhythms are our mental, behavioural and physical adaptations to the night and day. They help with sleep, hormones, eating and even body temperature. When you drink, do you know what time of day it is? Do you care? Our drunken singing and dancing are not the only things out of tune and time. Cirrhosis is an advanced stage of liver disease. Our usually smooth liver tissue becomes scarred and bumpy. Many of us are not aware we have cirrhosis, as our liver does not become painful until it's quite badly damaged. Feeling generally unwell, nausea, vomiting, tenderness in the upper right side of our tummy, weight loss, spider capillaries above the waist and blotchy red palms are all signs of this. Alcohol causes liver inflammation and disease. Blood tests can show the extent of the damage and the area of the liver affected. By stopping drinking, we can slow down, stop, and even repair liver damage. If we don't, then this may lead to liver failure and a liver transplant. You can read more about cirrhosis and see a picture of its effects on the liver at Cirrhosis of the Liver at the British Liver Trust. Codependency. Where there is addiction, there is often codependency. But what is it? A healthy dependent relationship is where two people rely on each other to equally give support. Codependency is unbalanced. One person needs to be wanted and depended on, and the other person is self-gratifying, often entitled, and allows the codependent to keep on giving. I decided at an early age not to rely on anyone else for fear of disappointment, desertion, and rejection, and not to express myself for fear of repercussions. But this didn't stop me endlessly trying to please and fit in, despite feeling that I never achieved this. As an adult, I continued to people please, to pander, to tiptoe around, to try and appease, and to do anything for a quiet and an easy life, and to prevent myself and others from suffering and feeling pain. But I also wanted to be loved and needed, and so started the cycle of codependent relationship after relationship. Not just with partners, but with friends, my son, work colleagues, and even patients. I would give and they would take, making sure everyone else's needs were met and my own put on the back burner. The bitterness and anger would fester, and the drinking would dampen down the flames. Others would also get reliant on my drinking, because the more I drank, the more I didn't care, the more that I would say yes, and they could do what they liked. At work, I became such a martyr that I would go hungry and thirsty and even get constipated because I would put my patients' needs first. Even basic self-care went out of the window. In sobriety, boundaries start to change, relationships change, some will end, and there is a lot of pushing back. Be prepared and realise it is okay for others to deal with their own emotions. In fact, it is their right. Remove yourself from any situation you find uncomfortable. Stick to your boundaries. Be assertive. Be self-centered. Give self-care. And don't forget to breathe. And all of those headings are in this book, so we will cover them all day by day. Cognitions. A fancy word for our learning, understanding, and our thinking. As we've seen, our thoughts can get distorted all on their own, causing worry, stress, and anxiety. Add alcohol to the mix, and then we really cannot think straight. Many of us drink to stop thinking, but this makes us vulnerable, and it only stops the thoughts for a while. When we wake up the next day, the thoughts come back bigger and stronger, with added regret and shame around drinking and the inability to function properly due to a hangover. At first, problems with our cognitions are temporary, but with time, drinking can permanently damage our brain and change our cognitions for good, permanently affecting our memory and our ability to learn and understand. Comfort blanket. For many of us, we've used alcohol as our comfort blanket to protect us from life and our feelings and keep us emotionally safe, whilst putting ourselves and others at great physical and emotional risk. Stopping drinking is like having our comfort blanket whipped away from us and leaving us out in the cold. Another reason why we need our community to comfort and support us and help to keep us warm. Community. This is absolutely key to recovery. If you're considering quitting, or even if you're in full swing, then find a community to support you. This can be face-to-face or virtual. For me, the I Am Sober app has been my saviour, as was Sobertown podcast. Most of our loved ones don't understand what we are going through, and certainly not to the degree that a recovery community does. It is so freeing to belong and be with people who truly get and understand us, accept us for who we are, and do not judge us for our choices. Compassion. We talk a lot about compassion, but what is it really? There is a clue in its Latin version, compati, meaning to suffer with. I'm not suggesting we should all suffer, but on the flip side, it can help us to find happiness together too. Compassion is walking in someone's footsteps with them, feeling their pain, accepting and understanding how it is for them, and helping them to get through it in any way that we can. Compassion goes hand in hand with kindness and helps us all to feel better about ourselves. As well as being understanding and accepting of others today, try a little self-compassion and accept yourself, warts and all. Treat yourself in the way you would wish others to treat you. Complacency. We can never get complacent in recovery. I now fear ever drinking again, but I can never say never. I hope I never drink again, but to say I won't and get cocky about it could lead to a slippery slope. As time goes on, we don't have to work it every day, but we have to be aware and remember that our addict voice taps us on the shoulder at the most random of times. Be prepared. We will always be addicts. It is our choice whether we feed and wake up the beast or leave it to sleep. Compliments. Do they make you cringe? Most of us are not good at taking compliments. We seem to think we don't deserve them, or that we are big-headed if we accept them or agree. Try looking at it this way. If someone takes the time to pay us a compliment and we brush it off, then we are actually demeaning and rejecting them. Take it for what it is, accept it, and let it make you both smile. After all, a compliment is a precious gift, and it might appear rude if we reject that. Go pay someone a compliment today, and if you receive one, then take it in the vein of which it was delivered. Resist the temptation to respond to, "What, this old thing?" Instead, try a smile, but a gracious thank you. Computers. Just wanted to throw this little analogy in. Our bodies and our minds are like computers. Just imagine never cleaning up our hard drive and continually inputting. Our computer is going to crash. And that's just what we do. We overload ourselves continually, taking on more and more and drinking to cope until we just cannot continue. Our body will throw a mental or physical illness at us in order to say, stop, enough is enough. I think that illness can be the body's way of getting us to pay attention and clean up our hard drive and reset. Try and listen to your body today. Confidence. Many of us drink to build up our confidence. Pre-drinks were a definite for me before a night out. And if I wasn't getting tipsy quickly enough at the bar, then I could always count on a few shots to do the trick. We think alcohol gives us confidence, but what it actually does is dampen down our egos and let the uncontrolled id loose. And it anaesthetizes and numbs us so we don't feel, and we don't therefore care. Alcohol, the confidence booster, until it isn't. Eventually, it completely wipes out our confidence and leaves us anxious, shrivelling wreck. It's kind of like dealing with the devil. It will give you a few good nights out, but secretly rob you of your soul. Conflict occurs when two or more people know that they are right. Just imagine entering a setting or situation with curiosity and being open to change and to being wrong. No more arguments or wars. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Perhaps we could finally find that elusive world peace. Conforming. Something we are expected to do. Otherwise, we are seen as weird and just plain awkward. Glennon Doyle writes that we are expected to conform and start to do so around the age of 12. Is exactly when I had my first drink to try and fit in. As a teenager, I wanted to join the army and train to be a nurse, but my fantasy was to run away with the circus or the fairground. Can you imagine the disgrace and shame of it all? I didn't go into the army, but I did go into nursing, and have to admit that I am very grateful and privileged to have met so many wonderful people along the way. At the age of 55, I was forced to retire on medical grounds. That was a hard pill to swallow. I was supposed to work until 67. My husband left, but he was supposed to stay until death do us part. I had to sell my house and buy a mobile home, but I'm supposed to live in bricks and mortar. Conforming has always gone wrong for me, and it's made me miserable, unhappy, and depressed, and an addict. I'm now sober, spending most of my time in my mobile home by the lake and back with the love of my life. I've got sober, had time to retrain my neural pathways, learnt to walk without falling and eat without choking, and I've even learnt to ride a Can-Am Ryker, my three-wheeled motorbike. As Glennon Doyle would say, here I am, from her book Untamed. And the love of my life was Andy Kettley, who sadly passed away a year ago. But neither of us conformed in the 4 years we got back together, and that was amazing. Connection is key. There is a saying in recovery circles, connection is the opposite of addiction. And this is so true. Whilst drinking we can start out as a social pastime, in the end it mostly becomes a lonely and solitary act. It is a disconnect and makes us withdraw to a point that it's just ourselves and the bottle. It even makes us hide things, sneak around, and to lie. That's exactly where the alcohol and the addict voice wants us. Isolated and easy to manipulate by its whispering its sweet nothings. Connection keeps us accountable, in the here and now, supported, loved, valued, cared for, and authentic. Connect and write your own story. Don't let the alcohol addict have control. Connection will make you strong. It will even allow you to show your weaknesses and learn that that is okay. Control. We all like to be in control. Drugs weren't my thing. I didn't like the thought of taking something, being out of control, and not being able to stop it. In my mind, I could stop the amount of alcohol I was drinking and stay in control. Until I couldn't. In the end, like all addictions, it had complete control over me. Do not be fooled. Alcohol makes us spiral until we lose our grip and control on everything, even our emotions, and in my case, my legs and bodily functions. Once addicted, despite not having control of our own life, we try to control others and everything around us. We recognise this more in sobriety and realise how much we have been resisting in our life and how angry, anxious and frustrated that this has made us. The sooner we accept that we cannot control others, the easier our lives become. Everyone is walking their own path through life. We just need to stick to our side. We cannot change others, only our response. Try this. Put the palms of your hands on the outside of your thighs. Raise your arms sideways up to shoulder height. Twist from the waist, left to right, or right to left. It really doesn't matter. That is your area of control. Nobody else's. That's why I don't like it when people invade. That's why we don't like it, when people invade our space without invitation. Anything outside of that area is beyond our control, just like in a hula hoop. Cortisol is our stress hormone. It stimulates that fire alarm that causes anxiety symptoms. It helps regulate our sleep, blood pressure, blood sugar, and reduce inflammation. It also gives us an energy boost when we need it to help us deal with stress. It is similar to adrenaline and is part of our fight, flight, and freeze response. Cortisol is not as reactive though and takes longer to settle down after the event. Whilst it is positive like adrenaline, the downside includes panic, anxiety, and ordered thinking. So breathing exercises and CBT can help us to control this. Courage. It takes a lot of courage to get sober, especially in a world where drinking is normal, and when we quit we are seen to be the one with a problem. This is not so. It is just the perception of others. Just like Dorothy's lion, we all have the courage if we just need to look inside. When we get sober, our security blanket has been pulled off us and we feel completely exposed. That is why it's important to plan our sobriety, connect and share. It is amazing how with each hurdle, our courage grows and we get stronger and stronger each day. Craig Beck, author of Alcohol Lied to Me, The Intelligent Way to Escape Alcohol Addiction. What I took from this is that drinking only pushes the pause button. When we wake up, everything is still as it was, and we then have a hangover too. I want to continue pressing play. I also used his suggested supplements to support quitting alcohol, which I've written about under vitamins. Cravings. The yearning and longing for something that we think will make this moment all okay. Little Shop of Horrors comes to mind as I'm typing. Feed me, Seymour, feed me now. A plant that started out all sweet and innocent, but ended up as a giant monster feeding on human blood. Giving in to cravings does not make anything better. It just fuels the beast, and to make it bigger and stronger. Distract, divert, act, breathe, and use whatever is in your toolbox. Create a new life for yourself and a new you. Create a new future by living in today. Just for today, do not drink. Just for today, get in touch with your feelings. Just for today, start to understand who you are. Just for today, think of your direction. Just for today, start to create your future. Creative. At the end of my drinking, all my creativity had gone. I didn't want to write, sing or dance. I did learn to knit to try and keep my hands flexible, but every morning I'd have to pick up all the dropped stitches. Every afternoon and night were the same, drinking wine, knitting, watching Netflix and falling asleep on the settee. When we quit alcohol, activity is right up there with connection. Keeping ourselves busy, doing whatever to distract ourselves from the booze is really key. And then gradually our confidence grows and we start to enjoy what we are doing. Creativity isn't necessarily about hobbies and being handy. We can be creative with our mind too, especially if we start thinking outside of the box. It is great to become childlike again, to be mindful and enjoy the grass, the sand and water, and to be creative with time, dance and song. Just being creative with life. It really is ours for the taking. It may sound or feel impossible at first, but I assure you, once your creative juices start flowing, there'll be no stopping you. Cross addiction is when we replace our addiction with another. It can happen immediately or years later. It stands to reason that when we stop one dopamine stimulating substance, we are going to crave another and want to satisfy our reward system by using something else. For me, it is chocolate and sugar. Right back to my childhood when even the dentist would give us lollipops for being good in the surgery. Fall over, have a sweet. Get upset, have a sweet. When I was nursing, if I'd had a particularly heavy session with a patient, I'd go straight to the corner shop and buy lots of childhood sweets so I could stop being an adult for a while. When I gave up drinking, I replaced my dopamine stimulant and sugars with sweets and chocolate. I'm lactose intolerant, so the physical pain created from the chocolate distracts me from my emotional pain. Refined sugars also increase pain for me. I gained 7 kilograms and I'm now working on my sugar addiction. But I'm aware that this is also a form of self-harm and a way of diverting myself from emotional pain. I refer back to Gabor Mate on addiction. Addiction is anything that gives you temporary relief or happiness, but has a long-term negative effect. Curiosity. A good friend once said to me, "Stay curious," and it really is sound advice. Even when the very worst happens, when it feels as though our world is crumbling around us, it really helps to stay curious. Curiosity helps us to learn, understand, and work things out, and definitely helps us to act, to become aware, clarify, and turn it around. It can also help with altered and unhelpful thinking, CBT, and other techniques that you will hear about in this book. Curiosity can help us to just be, to just sit with it, or to hand it over to the universe and trust in the process. C vitamin, ascorbic acid, keeps our bones, teeth, tissue, muscles, skin and capillaries healthy and helps us to absorb iron. As with most nutrients, drinking alcohol can deplete vitamin C. Craig Beck recommends taking 1000 milligrams when we quit drinking, but you should avoid this if you have kidney disease. It is best taken in 2 separate 500 milligram doses. Smoking will stop it working effectively. As with anything we put into our body, it has side effects. Heartburn and stomach upsets are the most common, but there are more serious side effects such as swelling, difficulty breathing, joint pain and fever, for which you should seek urgent medical help. If you prefer, you can increase your intake with foods. Citrus fruits, leafy vegetables and tomatoes are all high in vitamin C. That's it for now. I'll be back tomorrow with D and what we're going to be covering in D. All those things like delusions, delirium tremens, what is dependency, disconnection and distraction, and lots more. I'll see you then.